I do think, to Billy's point, it's hard, I think, to evaluate a guy when you're not putting him in. If you're trying to evaluate how a guy's going to look in a winning situation in 3 years' time, it's hard to look at him in a situation where you're saying it's okay to lose, do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they're trying to avoid. So, but it's to Sam's point, it's a middle ground. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And I think Billy can't come out and say that. I also think as a coach, he's in a position where he does want to try to win every game. And that's why the criticism to me falls more on the front office, that they have to be the ones striking that balance. And when you don't commit to one side or the other and you're not striking the balance, like, what are you doing? And that's, I think, where the Bulls are in right now. And it's why there are so many fans that are frustrated. There's people who are supposed to be closer with the team in the media who don't really understand what the agenda is here. And it's why when you say you're trying to win, but your actions indicate that you're not, but you say you're trying to win, we have to hold you accountable to that because that's what you're publicly stating. And so I think it just puts them in a bad position when they're not clear about where they are. And I think long-term, I don't know what their real agenda is. Like, I don't know if they're going to go out and make like a move for like a fringe all-star next year to try to kickstart this thing now that they got their picks back, or if they're going to try to do it the right way and take the slower approach and rebuild through the draft. We don't know the answers to that right now, but I do think that when you leave it unclear for so long, it can really frustrate people, and it can frustrate other teams around the league who want to do business with you and they can't get a clear answer about what your objectives are. And so I do think at some point they need to just bite the bullet and say what they're doing, even if we can all assume, even if we feel like we can't safely assume. At some point they do, I think, need to be more clear about what their agenda is, because that's what is causing Sam Smith to have to ask these questions.
Most of what I heard Billy Donovan say today was a coach who has been put in the most uncomfortable and just broken, busted ass situation by the front office that he works with and works for. I mean, take his answer about Vooch when Sam Smith was like, well, you know who Vooch is. You know what you got with Vooch. What's this Zach Collins kid's deal? And Billy said to tell Vooch, hey, listen, you're just going to rest. You're not playing today. Why would you do that to a veteran player who's trying to win and you tell him he's not playing tonight? What kind of message does that send? Okay, Billy, I hear you. That is AK's fault that Billy had to go out there and say that today as if it was something that he was standing firmly on. Because why is Vooch still here? If Vooch wants to be a vet on a winning team, that ain't here. And you're making Billy Donovan stand up and defend this nonsense. Because Billy Donovan knows, he said it himself somewhere in that conversation, hey, are we winning the championship this year? Nah. But he's talking about how he can't, afford to think further down the road and, more closely evaluate the young players the younger players they got in this trade from Zach LaVine trade to see what they have in him, because it's disrespectful to Vooch. A vet who wants to win. What kind of message does that send? Okay, but we also have heard that AK came onto the podium at trade deadline day and said, hey, well, we feel good about what we accomplished at the deadline, and there's still plenty more work to be done, and just y'all wait for the offseason. And, Cali came on to deadline show with us and basically said there's some belief that AK has some grandiose plans for this offseason, because Billy sat there and said, well, hey, if you're talking about the development and what's coming around the corner, this is what's coming around the corner. He cited the fact that other than Josh Giddey, who's on a restricted or will be a restricted free agent on an expiring, and Trey Jones, everyone else is under contract next season. Who is here right now? So this is what we got. He said Vooch is going to be here next season. But at the same time, we're hearing reports like, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. So that's what, when Goat is talking about, yo, which direction? Where are you going?
Pick a lane.
And Billy has to go out there and talk to the media on a regular basis and try to make sense of this mess that AK has created. And it's not fair to Billy Donovan. It is not. Because there are no right answers to these questions that he can say publicly without being scrutinized and without the league slapping the Bulls with a fine. And that is not Billy's fault. That is AK's fault. God.
We all silly like the mayor.